by design. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a series where I take an older paper collection and I do something new with it to help encourage you to get into your stash. Maybe think of a new way to use those older papers and bring them back to life. So today we are working with Prima Spring Farmhouse. This was one of my favorite collections when it came out. I used most of it up, but I had enough left to make this really super fun Z-fold pop-up card. Look at that. How fun is that for Easter? I love it. So I have a tutorial that will follow to show you how to put this together. So on this card, I have used the Spring Farmhouse Collection, just snips and snaps that I had left over. Some beautiful little birdie flowers, a little Prima resin bunny. Can you see him hiding there in with the flowers? This wonderful micro gingham ribbon from Really Reasonable Ribbon and some twine. Over here, I have a Little Birdie Crafts chipboard piece that I colored with Distress Oxide ink in bundled sage and then heat embossed with clear embossing powder. Then I just popped up this little cow here, added this little chipboard piece, some more little teeny tiny little birdie flowers. This is a vintage button from my stash. Now the fun thing here is the pop-up box. And what I did was I took a bunch of the ephemera pieces and I attached them to the panels. For these that sit higher, I've used clear acetate sheets and just kind of hook them on there like a lollipop. So I just think this would be a really fun little Easter decoration. Over here is a little teeny tiny note card tucked into this little teeny tiny pocket. So if you would like to learn how to make this a fun, interactive, dimensional card, stay tuned. The tutorial is coming right up for Throwback Thursday. Let's get started making this fun style card. You're going to need, to begin, 3 pieces of cardstock, and I'm just working with plain cream cardstock for the purpose of the tutorial. You can use designer, whatever, but the first piece needs to be cut at 5.5 by 11, and then you need 2 pieces that are 3 by 11. So with this 5.5 by 11, you're going to put it on your scoring tool and score it at 5.5. Easy, right? Then this is thick cardstock, so I'm going to go ahead and score it a second time at 2 3/4, which is half of 5.5. Then fold this scored flap back to the middle score line and fold again, and you've got a basic Z-fold card. Now you can go ahead and decorate this. These are great to put like have your little flap here and have a big design here, and then you can see in here, but so this is just all on its own, the Z fold, and you can see the Z, that's where it gets its name. So a great card base if you just want to do that. But to take it to the next level, we want to add this pop-up arm mechanism. And for this, we want to score this at 5.5 and 8.5. So now you have 3 sections. You have a 5.5, you have a 2 3/4 by 3, and a 2 3/4 by 3. And you're going to fold this mountain valley. Now what do I mean by that? Well, if you look at this fold forms a peak. That's a mountain. This fold forms a valley, right? So mountain valley, and that's common terminology in paper crafting, so that's a good one to know. And I can see that I scored this one wrong there. So, always good, here's a tip, it's a good time to bring this up. It is always good to practice this sort of card. If you've never made it before, practice it on inexpensive cardstock or construction paper, even printer paper might work. Anyway, so on your base, you've got mountain valley. On your mechanism, you've got mountain valley. And what you're going to do is adhere this 2 3/4 by 3 panel in the bottom right-hand corner, and you're going to adhere this half of the 5.5 by 3 on the front. Now normally what I would do if I wasn't doing a tutorial is I would go ahead and cover this with designer paper, because once you put this arm in place, it's very hard to get in there and cover. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use some repositionable adhesive so that I can do the tutorial with you, and then come back, take this apart, and finish it with my designer paper. So 5.5 goes on this, and your 2 3/4 goes right down here. So now you have a Z-fold pop-up card, which is also a really fun card all on its own. Now, if you want to get really funky with this, you can cut this box, this panel, the same height as your card, and then just adhere all the way up. And then you have a box that runs the full height of your card. But we're not doing that today. Today we're doing this style. So now bring in that third piece. Now this one has a lot of scores, and so I'll write those down below. But let me get my cheat sheet out so that I get all the numbers correct for you here. Okay, the first score line is at 7/8 inches. All right, and then you're going to score again at 3 5/8, which I do have a score line there for that. And then you're going to score again at 4 1/8. And I don't have a 4 1/8 on my scoring tool, so I make a little mark, then I scooch this over and do my score, and then put it back in the corner so that I stay accurate. The next one is at 6 7/8, which again, I make my mark, then I scooch it, score, put it back in the corner. 7 3/8, which I do have a mark for, interestingly enough. That's such an odd measurement, but there you go, that made my life easier. And then 10 1/8. So I'll just give you those measurements again. 7/8, 3 5/8, 4 1/8, 6 7/8, 7 3/8, and 10 1/8. Now, we're going to fold these, and the reason I introduced you to the whole mountain valley thing is that this is going to go mountain, valley, valley, mountain, mountain, valley. And what you end up with is this little box, this little maze shape. And you've got a 7/8 inch tab here at the back and a 7/8 inch tab here at the front. And this is going to fit down into your box that you prepared, just like that. Of course, you have to secure this. So we're going to take this out, and again, I'm just going to use removable adhesive on mine. Let me move all this out of the way. And you're going to put adhesive on those mountain fold areas. So on this first flap here, on this section, not here, not here. Flip it over, and again, here's a mountain. So you want to go on the edge and on the fold. Valley, no. Mountain, yes. Then fold this back up the way we had it so that your tabs are lined up. And this is the only tricky part. And the tricky thing is keeping that adhesive from sticking before you want it to stick. So just bear with me as I fit this in here. We're just going to fit it in like we did before. And of course that tape is sticky, so it wants to catch. But tap this down into place. Don't adhere your sides at this point, but do make sure that the tabs, those 7/8 inch tabs, are secure. Now you're going to just fold your card like this. So burnish it well and open. And there are your little panels that you add your designs to. And you can do behind and in front if you want. You can do some higher, you can do some lower. I use strips of course this is not going to show up on camera, clear acrylic. And I just cut like thin strips and glued them to the back of my images like a lollipop stick, and then glued those down into here. The thing you have to be careful of when you're putting this part of your card together, you don't want adhesive to come above this top line, because if you do, what's going to happen when you close it is going to stick to whatever's behind it and you lose that dimensional factor. But there you go, Z-fold pop-up card, super quick and easy, really a fun make. You saw how I finished mine with the Prima. Again, just, you know, use your imagination. You can add a little pocket over here. I think this would be really cute with some sort of a sentiment banner at the back, and you just have fun with it. I love these dimensional cards because they work as home decor and they work as cards. So that's it for me. Thank you for joining me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. If you haven't subscribed, I would love to have you along for the journey. You can also follow me on my blog at kathybydesign.com. You can shop in my Etsy shop, Kathy by Design. I hope you enjoyed this fun tutorial, and stay safe, stay well, and get your craft on. Bye.